today I would like to share with you my April favorites. Yes, I did film my April favorites early this time because I do have a lot of stuffs that I've tried out throughout the month of April to love and to share with you. Without a further ado, let's just get started. If this is the first time you're tuning into my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you do not know who I am, I'm Shamala and my channel name is Shamzmakeupartistry. So let's start with the foundation. Primer, basically I've been using the very similar primers that I've been using all the while. And even with foundation, this foundation is something that I just cannot put down. And this is my second bottle of the foundation, which I'm impressed because most of the foundations I do not finish using them up. But with this one, I was done and I got my second bottle, and it's none other than the Dior Forever. This is their Perfect Makeup Everlasting Aware Pore Refining Effect with sunscreen, and this particular foundation just gets me into it. I tend to try out other foundation and somehow I see myself going back into this foundation. But I do notice that when the weather gets a little bit more heated up, this foundation does make me a little bit more oilier than usual. I do have like a combination skin, but even then during the heat weather, I kind of see a lot more oil showing up on my face, and during that time I like to combine it with another foundation, and it's by Bare Minerals. This is their Bare Pro Performance Wear Liquid Foundation. So I personally felt that combining both of this foundation, like a little drop of this and a little drop of this, goes a long way. This is the foundation I'm actually wearing over my face area today. Personally, I really like how it looks on my skin, and I feel that I do not need to blot my skin, and it gives me the perfect coverage that I need. And only on my nose area I tend to get a little bit shiny, which I don't mind, but it keeps my foundation at bay and it keeps the skin looking very flawless. So I do like combining both of them together. This alone was kind of like giving me bumps over my face. When I combined it, I did not notice it, so I do not know whether that kind of mood has disappeared already. So these are the foundations that I've been enjoying for the month of April. Moving on to concealers, I have been using this concealers like crazy throughout the month of April, and I'm thankful that I got to try new shades. And it's none other than the Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circle Treatment Concealers. I do have three shades here. One of the shade is Caramel. Caramel, I like using it to cancel out any darkness under my eye area. And then I use the shade Honey Meal as an highlight over my face area. And it blends so easily. I do have like dryness on the eye area, and it doesn't emphasize the dryness, and it blends so easily and effortlessly under the eye area. And I also got a deeper shade which is in Hazelnut. I'm using this shade for contouring, a very light contouring over my face area. I'm a person that do not like too much of contouring over my face area, so I like this one because it gives me a very nice natural looking kind of contouring over my face area before I put on any powder products. So these are the three shades that I've got into, and I definitely want to try out more. I personally feel that these concealers are one of the very best concealers that I have found myself out there. Even with high-end concealers, I do have like a bad luck with them, but these concealers have been amazing, and you guys definitely have to check this out. Next, let's move on to a face setting powder that I've been trying out throughout the month of April. This is pretty new and I definitely want to share my thoughts on them. And this is of course raved all around the social media, and it's none other than the Charlotte Tilbury. This is their Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in number 3. So I got myself the shade Dark, and this is the deeper shade that they have. This is how it looks like, and I'm actually wearing the powder all over my face area today. I do really like this powder. I was of course very excited to try to see how it compares to other setting powders that I've tried. I personally felt that it compares very similar like the Laura Mercier's Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder. It's very similar on my skin. I personally feel that it wears alike, but this one does keep the oil much more at bay comparing it to the Laura Mercier one. So if you have like a oily to combination skin, you may want to try the Charlotte Tilbury one comparing it to the Laura Mercier one. But if you tend to have more like a drier skin, any of this would work perfectly fine for you. This one is slightly higher price point comparing it to the Laura Mercier one, but they equally work the same. Up next is a primer water that I like to share with you. Of course, when it comes to face primers, I've been sticking with the very similar ones, but I've been trying out the SmashBox Photo Finish. This is their Centering Citrus Primer Water. I personally like applying this over my face area even before putting on moisturizers. I kind of feel that this hydrates my skin and it gives like a refreshing feeling to the skin. Other than that, I do not notice much of like a major difference spraying this on my face, but I just feel fresh. And they do have like an original version of this, so I do not see the difference between them. The only difference that I personally noticed was this does come with a citrusy scent to it, and the original one doesn't really have any kind of scent to it. But this is like a refresher to your skin. More than anything else, it does say it's a primer water or a photo finish primer water. I do not see that, but of course it's very refreshing and I really like this. Now moving on to blushes, I've been trying out two blushes. One of it has to be a liquid blusher and it's by NARS, and this is their liquid blush in the shade Torrid. This blush goes on so nicely on the skin. This blush is one of my very favorite one in the powder version, so of course I wanted to try out the liquid version, and I've been really liking this. On the days that I want something to look much more glowier on my skin, I just take this out, I pat over my skin, and I'm good to go for the entire day. You don't even have to pat a powder product on the top of it. This goes on very intensely. When you actually swatch it at the back of your hand, it looks very light, but when you apply it over your face area, it wears so beautifully on the skin, and I've been really liking these blushes. And I'm not like a liquid blush or liquid highlighter kind of a person because I want something quick on the go. But this one has been really getting me into it and I really love it. And I would definitely recommend any of you to give this a try, because during spring or summer you definitely want the glow to your face, and this does it all. Moving on to the next blusher that I've been enjoying. This is pretty new to my vanity, but I just had to include it. And I'm actually wearing the blush over my cheek area today, and it's by Kevyn. And this is their Neo blush in the shade Grapevine. It's a rosy plum blush, but on the cheeks it looks much more peachier to me, and it's a beautiful blush. It goes on so intensely. The very first time I packed on my brush on it and I thought it would go on very light, it was heavy on my skin, and then I needed to use my beauty blender just to blend them off a little bit from my face area, or else I was looking like a clown. But this blusher is a beautiful blusher. Let me just open it. I'm like destroying my nail polish. So here's the blush in the shade Grapevine. I actually have the entire collection of it. I'll definitely quickly put up a swatch of them if I have not already on my social media. But this blush is an amazing one. You guys got to try it. I believe that this retails at $38 each. But these blushes are definitely worth the buy because they wear so beautifully on the cheek, and you do not need a highlighter with this blush. I personally felt that the moment I applied it over my cheek area, it was already giving me like a glow from within. So that's like a plus point. And again, this is how the blush looks like. If I were to give you a swatch, this is how it will go. It looks very light when it's swatched, so I assumed that it will go on very light on my cheek, but no, it went on very intense on my cheek area. So I've been loving this one. For highlighter, I have only one highlighter that I'm going to share with you. For this one, I'm actually wearing them over my cheek area, and it's by Dior. This one is more of like a limited edition one, but I believe they also have this kind of highlighters in their collection. This one is the DiorSkin Nude 10 in the shade Transat edition. Again, this one is a limited edition one, but they do have it in their normal collection. So this is how the shade Transat looks like. It is pretty gold on the pan itself, but when you apply it over your face area, this is how it looks like. It's pretty intense, and this is how it looks like when it's swatched. and this is how it looks like at the back of my hand. So I've been really loving and digging into this highlighter because it's been there some time inside my vanity, so it's time that I start using them. Now I do have two eyeshadow palettes which I've been going back and forth for the entire month. I've been keeping it very simple when it comes to my eye area. I just tend to keep it very neutral. Sometimes I like using colors. And on the days that I keep my makeup much more neutral, I was using this Morphe palette. This one, it states at the back of the palette is 25B. I will look it up and then I will state it down on the description bar below. I believe that these are all the browns kind of shade, and then there was another palette with all the mauves. So this one is much more brown. So this is something that I've been leaning on throughout the month, and I do love this palette. I kind of feel like it has everything for me. I personally lean towards bronzy, browns and neutrals, so this one was like right up my alley. So I was just using this particular palette and I've been really enjoying this palette. And the other palette that I've been using throughout the month of April has to be from Natasha Denona, and this one is their Lila palette, and this one is much more colorful comparing it to the Morphe one, but this one I love using it on the days that I want some colors on my eye area. At the same time, they do have neutral shades like bronzy browns and reddish browns that I use it on everyday basis. So this is something that I can reach out for it on easy go. I am aware that some of you did ask me for a review on this. This is a very good palette if you want to invest on them. Again, I will try to put up a review of them, but if you were to ask my personal thought on them, I do really like this palette. Lastly, we have some lip products, and also I have two eyeliners that I've been enjoying throughout the month of April that I'd like to share with you. The very first one is by SmashBox. This is a black eyeliner, and this is their always on gel liner in the shade Fishnet. My friend actually got this as a Christmas gift for me, and I was really surprised by her gift, and this one is definitely worth the buy. Thank you so much. You definitely know who you are. And this eyeliner goes on so smoothly over the eye area, on the inner rim, on the lower lid, even on the upper lid. It wears so beautifully and very, very intense. And this is again in the shade Fishnet. And the other eyeliner that I've been liking throughout the month of April has to be from Makeup Forever, and this one is in the shade I-24. It's much more like a blue shade, which Makeup Forever usually doesn't name their colors, so it's in a number 24. And I like using this all over my lid area, on the top lid. I just like applying this, and then a nude lip goes well together. And this is how it looks like. Again, I-24. So these are the two eyeliners that I've been enjoying typically throughout the month of April. Of course, we are trying to work on more with colors as spring and summer approaches. Now let's move on to one particular product that I like to share with you is by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is their Clear Brow Gel. I have not been using brow gel for a long time. I personally just like to work on my brows and then I just leave it as it is. But when I started using this brow gel, I just looked back and thought that I've missed it out so much, because this one keeps the brow so clean and so well done and so beautifully done, and all that fake stuff that I personally feel, because this one helps me with my brow and it just keeps the brow at bay, because sometimes there are hairs like comes out off after you have worked with your brow. It's still like, you know, it looks like not so even out, but with this brow gel it helps to stay in place forever until you wash your face at the end of the day. So I've been really liking this brow gel. So if you're on a hunt for a brow gel, definitely check out this one. Lastly, lip products. So the very first one is by Buxom, and this one is their full-on lip cream, and I have been really liking this. You can see it's really light. I do not use it on its own, but I like layering it with any lip product that I'm using on a day that I want it to look much more glossier. This one is a must-have for me. It adds the glossiness to the lips. At the same time, it has like a very natural plump effect. It doesn't give you any tingling effect to the lips. It kind of hydrates the lips, at the same time it gives you a very nice natural plumped kind of effect to the lips. So I've been really liking this one. And this one is in the shade Pink Champagne. So if you want something like very plumping at the same time moisturizing to the lips, definitely check out the Buxom. This is again their full-on lip cream. For fair skin tone girls, you may be able to use it on its own, but for me it's way too light, so I like to top it up with any kind of lip product with it. The next lippy is from Marc Jacobs, and this is their Le Marc Liquid Lip Crayon in the shade Plum and Get It. This is one of a kind of a lip crayon that I have personally tried, that it is so well being on the lips. It wears so smoothly on the lips and it's so easily workable on the lips as well. And I totally love this shade. It's much more like a purpley kind of shade. This lip crayon is definitely super creamy. When you're applying at the back of your hands too, it wears so smoothly, but it doesn't budge off your lip. Most of us do suffer with lip products which are super creamy. They kind of go on everywhere, but with this lip crayons, I never face such headaches, and I totally love this lip crayon. I have 3 liquid lipsticks to share with you, and they are all 3 from SmashBox. SmashBox totally got me into getting all the liquid lipsticks. I am like a fan of their liquid lipsticks, and I'm actually wearing 2 of the shades. I combined them. So the 2 shades I'm wearing over my lips today is in the shade Driver's Seat, and the other shade is Stay Neutral. I kind of felt that the Driver's Seat pulled on very bright on my lips, so I tend to like wanting to tone it down, so I applied Stay Neutral on the top, and this is how a Driver's Seat looks like on its own. It's a beautiful shade, but I am not too ready to rock on like a BAM kind of shade today, so I decided to tone it down. And the other shade that I'm wearing on the top is Stay Neutral. This one, I would recommend it to any one of you who loves neutral shades. It's a beautiful shade. And the other shade that I've been totally enjoying throughout the month of April, and I believe it's not only the month of April, it's definitely going to repeat because I'm crazy about all this liquid lipstick. And this is in the shade Stepping Out. This is my favorite shade. I've never found such a shade which works so well with every other skin tone, and it's such a beautiful one, and this is how Stepping Out looks like. So these are the 3 shades you definitely need to check out, and SmashBox, they do have beautiful liquid lipsticks, so you may want to check out the rest of it too. I do have a couple of them still in my vanity, but these ones are my top pick for the month of April. I do hope that you enjoyed my April favorites. Definitely leave me down questions on the comment box if you do have any questions for me. Thank you guys for watching my video. To my very next one, stay beautiful, out. Thumbs up, share all the love and support, and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.